Over the past half year, TADC and its creators went through a bunch of pretty serious problems, and I'm sure it's only going to get worse from here. Everybody remembers the chaos that blew up before the release of Episode 5 when the Gaslight District pilot dropped. Literally every third comment was spamming about the release date of Episode 5, and Gooseworx even had to make some heavy threats cause of those commenters. Now just imagine what's coming next, since we already got a full trailer for Season 1 of Gaslight District, and just recently, they dropped another trailer for Knights of Guinevere. If the Gaslight District pilot alone forced them to push back the release of Episode 5, then now, with the Digital Circus being developed alongside a bunch of new projects, things are only going to get messier. And yeah, we know Episode 7 was developed in parallel with Episodes 5 and 6, so its release shouldn't be a problem. But what comes after that's honestly scary to even think about. I can already say the wait between Episodes 7 and 8 and Episodes 8 and 9 could seriously be half a year, or even longer, and that's definitely going to spark another wave of hate and spam towards Glitch and Gooseworx. I noticed there's been way more baseless hate toward pretty much everything tied to this project lately, and today, let's look back at the nastiest stuff that ever happened around the Digital Circus. Talk about how it's affecting our favorite show right now and what's actually going to happen next. UTTP members literally started leaking Michael Kovach's private information, including his phone number and home address. And he's not the only one who got hit. Lizzie Freeman, the voice actress for Pomni, also became a target. What's truly shocking is that they're actually proud of what they've done, even though what they're doing is straight up illegal. All of it, harassment, is fully criminal and can easily land them in prison for years if it comes to that. Even Gooseworx wasn't safe. Some of her accounts were hacked and her private data was leaked right on their site. And honestly, I don't even want to comment on some of the posts made by UTTP members. The main threat doesn't even come from UTTP themselves. Yeah, they definitely cause chaos and toxicity, but I really doubt they do anything in real life outside their little bubble. The fact that they're leaking personal data is just disgusting, mostly because that kind of info could end up in the hands of someone who actually knows how to use it with bad intentions. We'll talk about a few more dramas surrounding the Digital Circus today, but to wrap this one up, I just want to say that behavior like this online shouldn't go unpunished. But let's take a little break and talk about the latest drama surrounding the Digital Circus. And this one's all about the circus itself with no outsiders involved this time. Lately, there's been more and more hate toward Ragatha, and I keep seeing comments like, "I'm glad more people are catching on to the fact that Ragatha sucks," or "She's so dumb looking. I hate her so much. I hate Ragatha." And if these users are being, let's say, relatively mild, there are tons of posts that go way harder, like, "I actually can't stand Ragatha. Ever since Episode 1, I hate her. I hate her so much, and I don't know why. Twizzler hair having ass." And obviously all of this started after the events we saw in Episode 5. It all began with that stargazing scene where Ragatha walked up to Jax and Pomni, and as usual, started scolding Jax for his behavior. But then she said the thing we all remember, she brought up Jax's best friend. But up to that point, none of the fans really had any issues with our doll, not until that bar scene where Ragatha started acting real weird. And just like that, the growing bond between Jax and Pomni drove Ragatha into a full-on meltdown, perfectly shown in that scene. Jax ended up catching some heat too, cause yeah, he was the main trigger for that burst of aggression. And Pomni, who was just trying to calm Ragatha down, got dragged into it too. That's exactly when the mass bullying of Ragatha kicked off. And if those earlier posts I showed you just came off as personal hate towards her, this next one, way more alarming. Ragatha sucks, I hope she abstracts. That's messed up. No matter how you feel about a character, wishing something like that on them is just not okay. I mean, yeah, I've got a character I seriously can't stand too, but I'd never wish them something like that. And now I'm curious, can you guess who I'm talking about? Drop your guesses in the comments. Gooseworx just added fuel to the fire herself. When asked, will Ragatha be okay after Episode 5, she just replied with a simple, huh. And since we remember her mental state at the end of Episode 5, it really seems like Ragatha might abstract in Episode 6, but more on that in the next part of the video. Meanwhile, let's not forget, I said this drama involves not just Ragatha, but Jax too, and that's where it gets wild. With all the recent hate around Ragatha, you can see more and more posts throwing serious shade at Jax, like, "Hate that stupid purple rabbit from the amazing Digital Circus. Hope to God he dies, bruh. Can't stand to see my enemies succeed and live. Jax. Ragatha, kill that thing, I support you." It's clear the fandoms split into two camps fighting each other. Some hype Jax for his honesty and realness, especially after learning about Ribbit, and how Episode 5 made Jax the most popular character in Digital Circus. Meanwhile, those same fans trash Ragatha, calling for her to be erased from the show. The other side hates Jax hard, calling him the biggest jerk in the circus and seeing Ragatha as the most positive, kind, and genuine character. Which side are you on? Really curious to hear your thoughts. And on top of all that, Goose posted on Blue Sky saying, "Don't get me wrong, Jax is still my favorite character, but some of you guys make too many excuses for his behavior. He has reasons for why he acts the way he does, but he's still not a good person." This post kind of confirms we shouldn't take Jax as the good guy he seemed to be in episode 5, and there's another leak from Gooseworx that backs this up, but more on that real soon. And here we come to the heart of the new drama, and many are sure it's all about misogyny. I've seen tons of posts like this one. Every female character who displays any sort of complex emotion will be called an abuser at this point. It's like the misogynistic, unpreventable event for every fandom at this point. Or, I hate seeing so many people dog on Ragatha for being fake. She's not fake, she's optimistic, and all she's ever done is be kind and sweet to the rest of the cast, and only acts in ways to benefit everyone, but yet she ends up isolated and underappreciated. I swear, if she abstracts. Opinions like this are popping up more and more on X, Reddit, and beyond. Misogyny or any kind of hate based on prejudice is disgusting, but should we see misogyny as the only reason behind this drama? I don't think so. I don't rule it out as a cause, but this whole situation needs to be looked at from every angle, not just blamed solely on misogyny. Besides that, this drama has favoritism too, and like I said before, after episode 5 dropped, Jax became the most popular character in the digital circus again, so naturally he's got the biggest fan base. Since episode 5 basically pits Jax and Ragatha against each other, it's only logical that fans crazy about one will hate the other. Also, if we remember what Ragatha was like at the start of the show, and what she turned into later, it's no surprise many fans started doubting her character. And this scene just won't leave my mind. Some weird double standards mixed with sudden changes in behavior, plus a bit of misogyny and favoritism, that's what sparked this nasty drama centered around Ragatha. Even back then, I was thrown off by the fact that Netflix wouldn't let episode 5 drop, and like an obsessed geek, I kept trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And honestly, the only thing I could point out were these scenes. Sure, they kind of stand out from the vibe Netflix wants to see in a show like this. Let me remind y'all, Netflix sees the digital circus as a kids or teen show, but these scenes made it through YouTube's censors just fine, which you can't really say about episode 6 where the creators ran into a few issues. Far as I see it, the whole thing's about these scenes.
I want the ability to have sex.
No way! Are we finally having this conversation?
Okay. Okay. I understand.
Jeez, you really can't take a joke, can you?
It's pretty likely that the whole weapons thing also played a part, but the main issues with episode 6 dropping on YouTube started exactly with these scenes. Imagine the panic Netflix must have felt when they saw him, and that's not even counting Jax's brutal panic attack. I'm pretty sure they freaked out just like that watching episode 6, but we're done with Netflix for now, so let's get back to the YouTube situation. I've already mentioned before that it's pretty likely the creators originally had a slightly different plot in mind for episode 6. Most likely in this scene, Gooseworx was planning a different storyline. Judging by these frames, we can assume Pomni was about to do something to herself, but because of the heavy censorship, the team couldn't go through with it. Even if they showed the loser corner right after, the reason for that transition would have still been obvious and could have ended badly for Glitch's channel. The problem is that limits like this really keep the digital circus team from fully pulling off their original vision. But while with Netflix they can just bail from the service, with YouTube it's way tougher because that's the main platform where all the episodes drop. Glitch and Gooseworx are gonna have to roll with YouTube's rules no matter what, and that seriously sucks. This whole messy situation gets even worse because up till episode 6, the creators never had any beef with YouTube's censors. But the thing is, all the earlier episodes were mostly about digging into the characters while now the really wild, game-changing stuff is kicking off. Most likely, the core story for Digital Circus was written way back before the pilot dropped, when YouTube's rules on what you can show weren't nearly as strict. And with each passing month, YouTube keeps trying to be safer, but that just ends up putting heavy limits on creators, including the folks behind the amazing Digital Circus. So we end up realizing the creators will have to seriously tweak not just episode 7, but the rest of the series too, because their whole creative vision's being boxed in by YouTube's censorship. I'm curious to hear what y'all think about this whole situation, and what you'd do if you were in Glitch and Gooseworx's place. As for me, I've run into YouTube's censorship more than once, and yeah, it really can mess with what you originally planned, so you end up having to look for some kind of workaround. And that's where this video comes to an end.